Welcome to New England Lacrosse Journal's Chasing the Goal podcast, your destination for all things lacrosse. I'm your host, Kyle Devitte. We are back in studio with Owen Hart. What's up, man?
So we did the math. I think May we landed on this last time we were been here. It's been a while. I think you've grown since then, maybe.
Wow. You've been saving that for too long.
Yeah, I was like that one.
Yeah, everyone liked that one. I am still 5'7". Thanks.
Sorry.
It's great. Wow, short jokes to start the podcast?
I just need to get one. It's been a while. I got to start off hot. Sorry.
It's hurtful, man.
Sorry.
But speaking of hurtful and going through pain, we have a goalie coach here. What a transition. Nailed it.
Very nice.
Patrick Wallace of Goalie Gurus, man. What's going on?
Not too much. Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah. It's gonna be a fun podcast. We were talking before, and I don't think I said this, but I've said this many times on the podcast if you've listened. I think goalies are insane. I have had luck training goalies and working with goalies, and then I have had complete flameouts with goalies that defy explanation, and I have no idea why that is. What is the overall prevailing mentality of a successful goalie to you?
Okay, so really important point. I'm glad we're starting with this. You're right. Goalies are clinically insane.
Yes.
Yep.
Like, to want to, at age 11, get in a crease and have a hard rubber ball shot at you and continue to do that for 10 years, something's a little off.
Right.
And so, like, actual statistics, if you look at the data, at least on the male side, I'm a little bit newer to the women's game, but male goalies have more issues with mental health and substance abuse than the field players do. It's way more common. It's a way higher pressure position. So that's why it's actually a huge part of our business is not just elite goalies, but lifelong healthy adults in mind, body, and spirit. So two of our newest, most important partnerships are with the Athlete Mental Health and Performance Network, which is a nationwide network of sports psychologists, psychiatrists, and other clinicians meant to help issues the athletes have on and off the field as college athletes and young adults in high school. Yep. And then also we just partnered with Honora Global Leadership, which is leadership training for high school and college athletes.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that we got that in. Going back to just talking more about goalies, me and Kyle have talked about how goalies are hard to write about. They're hard to evaluate. They're hard to scout because just they make you save. Like there's just so many things that maybe we don't notice. What are the things that maybe you as playing the position, coaching the position, the little nuances that you can tell differentiates a goalie between being good and being great? Like what are the small things that people can look out for that maybe separates one from the field?
Great question. So just recently stepped away from college coaching, but for the last 3 or 4 years, I was recruiting college players. And so like the three main boxes a goalie has to check is you have to be able to lead the defense as the communicator, you have to stop the ball, and you have to start transition the other way. And so those are the three main boxes you need to check. When I was at Amherst, we would look for goalies who had all three. If you couldn't check all three boxes, you weren't quite up to that level of play. When I was recruiting for Gordon or Wheaton, if you checked 2 out of 3 boxes and the other one, there was some potential there, then that's a guy I can work with.
Yeah. So again, as I alluded to before, I've had success training goalies. I've never been, it's not true. I did play goalie a little bit, like just for fun. I used to play, when I coached college, the last practice, I would get in goal and we'd play a full scrimmage. And that led to some very hilarious moments that I will never share on the podcast. But I learned how to coach it by reverse engineering it because I'm a shooter. So the first thing I look at is space, right? I've trained my brain and my stick to not look at the goalie, right? Like that's the one thing that if I can give shooters advice, don't look at the goalie when you shoot the ball, which is what every kid does, by the way. Every kid from there's kids in college still looking at the goalie, shooting the ball. You want to always look at space. And one of the things I try to do is just, okay, well, if that's going to be my philosophy as a shooter, I need to get this goalie to give me the least amount of thing to shoot at, right? So my thing is we're going to be big, and I've been told that goalies hate this when I say this to them, but I go elbows, toes. I say if your elbows can't move up and down, you're not in a good spot, right? If you can't swing either way, I don't know if you're an over-the-top guy or an underneath guy.
Over the top.
Yeah, I knew it. I just started teaching that this year because I realized that that's better.
So you agree the position has changed?
1,000%.
A lot of coaches don't think it's changed.
No. Because shooters are better.
Yes.
and more creative than ever. So you have to be, as a goalie, almost, I think the great goalies of the past, let's say Bill Day, Brian Doherty, guys like that, they were baiters.
Kevin O'Brien.
KOB, yes. I love KOB. They were baiters, right? Berkey was a baiter, right? And that means that they would show you the space that they can get to the fastest. And that's how they would make their saves. Like, sorry to expose all your goalie secrets, guys, but it's true. I've literally talked to all of you about this, and it's true. You can't play that way anymore because the deception is too good, right? There's too much box in the game now. There's too much box in the game now. There's too much, my stick has eyes. We've heard that in our heads. Now kids apply it because they learn it way younger. The finishing is much better. The fakes are better. The sticks are better. The mesh is better. Everything is better. So you have to have an adaptation to stop the ball, right? And I think a lot of people conflate this with the emergence of the high arc versus flat arc. When most goalies now play medium arc. Tell me I'm wrong. Like, or you go in and out,
age,
right?
So, like, if I was to play goalie right now, and I actually haven't played a field game since 2018.
Sure.
I hopped in one of my own clinics this summer for the first time. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Like you, I wanted to reverse engineer it because the position has changed. The way I coach it is completely different from how I played. So I wanted to try actually doing the things I was telling these goalies to do, feel how it felt to go from stepping at a 45 to stepping laterally in the course of one session.
Sure.
And so in terms of like arcs, this is a great question because I worked with a lot of youth goalies for club teams this summer, and they would all have their heels on the goal line.
Yeah.
And I would say to these guys, like, hey, you're all clearly watching like the PLL D1 goalies, like you're picking up on their habits. That's awesome, being students of the game. But do they have the same body type as you?
Right.
Do you guys have the same body type as me? So let's take me, and I'll stand in my stance with my heels on the goal line, and we'll see how much net I take up. And then I'll grab little Sammy, who's a fourth grader, and let's get Sammy's heels on the goal line. A lot more net, guys.
Right.
And so let's have Sammy take 2 steps out, maybe like half a foot. Now he's taking up more net. Yes, it's a bigger step to the pipe, but he's going to make more saves now.
Right.
And so it's something that evolves as you grow as a player. Like your arc should decrease as you get bigger, so your steps get shorter, you move less. So what's fun about playing goalie is like the less you do, the better you are. Like the less movement equals more saves.
Because it's on the shooter. It's not on the goalie. That's what I say that all the time, and kids are like, "What?" I'm like, "No, it's on the shooter to win.
Yes.
The shooter should win. That's why goalies that have over 50% save percentage are good goalies.
Yeah.
It
And the
doesn't happen by
standards are so
accident.
low. If you save half the shots, you keep your job. You save 6 out of 10, you're potentially an All-American.
Yeah. And I've talked about this before as well. This season with Hopkinton, we had the same goalie for 9 games. He was a sophomore. He was an understudy as a freshman. We're like, great, we got a goalie. He wants to play. He's all in it. And we still won games. But something in the back of my head's like, this doesn't sit right. Like he's not stopping what he should be stopping. Something's off. And then we got to a stage where he had to make some saves and he didn't. And I was like, that's it, right? He's not making the save that he needs to make in this moment, and he's not getting the ball up and out. He's throwing it away. And I was like, complacency. Yeah. So we made a change. We put a senior in who hadn't played goalie since his sophomore year. He was a defenseman. This big, huge defenseman. He was huge. He's like 6'4", like probably 240, just a big kid. But he knew how to play goalie a little bit. And we put him in net. And we told the kid, and he was like, yeah. And I was like, what? You're not even, are you all right? Like, he's like, yeah, I don't know. I'm like, okay. And I was like, well, let's work through it, right? So I tried to keep him involved, but I think by that point he had become detached because he knew that he wasn't performing, right? And he knew, not that we like lost games because of him per se, but he knew that we were in a better spot with someone else. And I find that psychology so like confusing as a coach and as someone that doesn't play the position. I think it's a positional thing and a mental thing. I'm also a psychopath, so it's like hard to tell.
Should have been a goalie.
No, I mean, I'm like driven to a point of where like kids are scared. Like I'm like very driven, and I'm a JV coach, so that's, that'll let you know.
So can I jump into the psychology there?
Do it.
So I had actual experience when I PG'd at Avon. So I PJ'd at Avon, ended up committing to Richmond, right as they're building the D1 program, thinking in my head, like, okay, they have a senior goalie who's an Under Armour All-American, committed to Johns Hopkins. He and I will split. We'll have a great goalie room. It'll be awesome for the whole team. And that's how the season started. And then that goalie actually blew out his ACL playing stickball, which is like a Sunday tradition at Avon in the spring. We have a stickball league.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, like, I feel really bad for him, but like, now that this is my shot, I'm going to play every minute of every game. Like, I'm the guy now. This is going to be great. Next game, we played Tabor. I get pulled at halftime. Made 3 saves, letting 4 goals, and like, not horrible, but Founders League, that's not the standard for a goalie.
Right.
And so we put in a sophomore who was really at Avon for hockey more than lacrosse, and he played the best game I've ever seen a goalie play at the prep school level, honestly. Mm-hmm. We won in double overtime, and we rode that sophomore goalie the rest of the year. We won a Founders League championship. He went on to play at Syracuse. And when I was on the sidelines during the third quarter at Tabor, right as we're about to have the opening face-off, one of our assistant coaches, who like really didn't honestly coach, like as you know, prep schools like have like faculty requirements. Sure. You got to coach a certain number of seasons. Yep. And so I think this was just kind of like him helping out. He didn't say anything to me the entire season, except he walked right in my face and he said, "You better scream like a maniac for that goalie, because he did that for you." Mm-hmm. And so then that year, I barely played the rest of the season, but I screamed like a maniac, and I won the Skip Flanagan Award for leadership. And I was actually one of the few players who had the great honor of having Skip Flanagan actually hand me that award, because he did his reunion tour at Avon when I was there. He had left and then come back.
Right.
And so then for your player, that could have been a really good learning and leadership opportunity for him to learn how to be an exceptional teammate and set that example for all of those players next to him down the bench.
Right. And that didn't happen. I mean, I don't feel bad talking about the truth with my guys. Like, they know. Yeah. Like, it's fine if you listen to... And honestly, some of them are just like, I've heard enough of you during the season. I don't want to hear you out of season anyway. So I'm not going to listen to your podcast. And I'm like, cool.
Mine don't listen. Mine don't listen either. It's fine.
Yeah, no. But this case in particular, and it's interesting because we had won the state championship in 2023 with a kid who never played lacrosse as our goalie. He was a baseball player, and we poached him from the baseball team because we needed a goalie. And we taught him how to play goalie. And by taught, I mean he didn't do anything I told him to do. But he found a way to react to the ball that he liked. And you could tell he wasn't a normal goalie because he just stood kind of like hunched over, like really hunched over. Like a space marine from Warhammer. Like his head's like down here and he's like this, right? But he could just explode to the ball because he was an athlete and he could explode to the ball. But then he would make like the weirdest mistakes. Like he let in a 50-yard goal that rolled in from half field. And I went, uh-oh. We have to but he never did it again, right? And he had the mentality of, I need to get better every day, and also I have a limit to what I can do, to what I can learn and what I can do. And he would say that in practice. Like we would finish, and I'd be like, all right, we're scrimmage. He's like, set this one out. And I'd be like, why? And he's like, too many balls today. And I'm like, okay, is that a thing? Like no one had ever said that to me before. I was like, all right, man. Second goalie in. But it worked for him, right? Like, do you find that the autonomy of goalies is very contingent upon their success?
No, not at all.
No?
You can be Connor Foley, who's... I'm sorry, Connor, you're probably 5'6", even though it says like 5'8" on your roster. He's...
I am tall. Connor, I met you at Legacy. Dude, I'm taller than you. Sorry. So, yeah, you're 5'6".
Like, probably preseason All-American goalie.
Love him.
And then you have Liam Entenmann and Will Mark, who I coached the PLL goalie clinic with. Mm-hmm. They're like 6'2".
Yeah.
Very different styles, very different ways to play the position, equally successful. Then you have big guys like UMass traditionally has with guys like Matt Note going all the way back to Doc Schneider. Like, that's what's fun about coaching goalies is I can do 3 private lessons with 3 completely different goalies, and each lesson is pretty unique. Because although there's some like things I am absolute about, like you have to take lateral steps to the ball, you have to be athletic on low shots, like drop your trail leg, use your legs to make saves, like the ball has to stay out. It doesn't have to be a pretty reboundless saves, just keep the ball out of the net, keep the play alive. Yeah. But beyond that, like you can play around with where your arc is. If you want to come out and take out an angle on a low angle shot, that's fine. And so that's what's really exciting about being a goalie coach is there's no like two goalies who are the exact same.
Right.
You mentioned when you were back at Dave on that the concept of like platooning goalies, swapping in and out, and there was a couple high level teams in Mass that did play multiple goalies in every game or swap them out. Do you think that's a long term recipe for success? Would you not recommend it? It's kind of like playing like multiple quarterbacks. You can't really get into a flow with your defense. What's your kind of thought on how successful that can really be if you're playing two goalies, splitting time even throughout the season?
So it can be successful. It hinges on a couple factors. One, the guys have to be best friends and teammates. If the goalies that are rotating in and out, whether it's two goalies or three goalies, aren't supporting each other, it's going to create a toxic team environment, especially for the defense, and that's not going to work. Yep. But if they all recognize, like, hey, we just have to play the best half of our life, and then we're done, and then another guy comes in, he plays the best half of his life, and then we all win a league championship, and they buy into that, then it works. And then the second thing that's really important, is getting them on the same terminology. Mm-hmm. Like, one guy can't call slide, and the other guy call fire. And that just switches every game at halftime.
Yep.
So you need to be really intentional as a coach about getting uniform terminology with your goalies and with your defensemen. And that's something I had to do as a coach this summer. I was coaching a men's box team, and we had 3 incredible starting goalies who we rotated through. But we heard back from the defense like 2 weeks into the season, like, they're all saying different shit.
Yeah.
Like when, I shouldn't swear, sorry. When they rotate in, like, we don't know what to say or like what the calls mean. And, like, we need uniform terminology, and so I created a terminology sheet, and then like that made a huge difference for that team because now as we rotated goalies in and out, everything stayed the same for the defense.
Yeah. My hot take with that is, like, when you said it, I was like, defenses don't flow.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying.
Especially if like goalies have different styles, whether one's like a more athletic, like coming out of the cage, one's more of a steady, like. Also,
they kind of have to play the same too, right?
Yeah, they can't have different styles.
So they don't have to save the ball the same. Where it more comes into play is how
coming
they clear.
Out and coming out.
Yeah. Like if one goalie doesn't leave his crease on the clear, that's very different than if you have Anderson Moore at Georgetown picking off passes and running past the midline.
Right.
Like that's a lot to adjust to. And so then you would also need to have some structure to your clearing game.
Right. Do you think the position is moving towards more athleticism or not? I don't want to say less. Do you think it's moving towards coming out of the cage more?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I started at Seb's 2010, 2011. 18-year-old me would not start today.
Yeah.
I'm just not athletic enough. The goalies are so much more athletic. I still have the hand-eye probably that you need, but like everything else, no. Like I can't make the plays out of the cage that kids are making routinely now. And kids' IQs are honestly a lot higher. Like some of my 5th grade goalies, they sound like college goalies when they're leading their defense. It's like kind of scary.
Yeah. I did a clinic this summer, and I was coaching the goalie. We happened to be one-on-one because the rest of the kids were doing something else, and he was the only goalie there. And I was telling him stuff. He's like, "Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know." I'm like, "You're 9. How do you know this little thing that I'm trying to teach you?" He's like, "Oh yeah, my coach teach me that." I was like, "Oh," and I was kind of like, "Oh, I'm a bad goalie coach," but I also was like, "All right, let's bump it a little bit, like." Let's increase my velocity and just put it where your stick should be, right? Yeah. And that still was the break, right? Like that he still can't handle the velocity when it's a little higher, right? And I was like, okay, well, let's watch release point, right? Like, let's watch how that changes and how you go after the ball. He's like, well, I don't go after the ball. And I was like, why not? And he's like, the ball comes to me. And like, this is a 9-year-old. I'm having like a philosophical conversation with a 9-year-old, and I was like, it's actually like a really good point, dude. Like, I'm like, this 9-year-old's beating me. This is amazing. But I think that speaks to your IQ point, is like, they are smarter because they have to be. Like, if you choose to be a goalie, not like you're a big kid and can't run, now you're a goalie, which still happens, unfortunately, not at the high levels, but at the lower level, that does happen still. Yep. You're either a defenseman, you're a face-off guy, or a goalie. If you have great hands, you're an attackman, right? And if you aren't any of those things and you choose it, I think you create kind of your own ceiling when you do that, because you can work as hard as you can and do all these specialty clinics and stuff and still not get recruited to the place you want because goaltending is so competitive. It's like facing.
It's insanely competitive. I have this talk with families all the time because now that I'm out of college, I'm way more involved in the recruiting process.
Right.
And there's more D1 talented goalies than there are spots. Like the goalies who end up in the NESCAC, they're D1 goalies.
Yes.
Yep. Like when I was rating goalies, like we would rate, I'm not going to give you the rating system, but like we rate kids like D1, D2, D3, but like with other stuff attached to it. The goalies we would take at NESCACs, those are D1 goalies that there just aren't enough spots for.
Right.
And then in terms of the IQ being higher, one of the most fun transitions I've had as a coach was going from being the D coordinator at Wheaton this year and then coaching goalies and Fogos to running youth goalie clinics for a club team this summer, like 2 weeks in between. So I went from coaching like 19 to 24-year-olds to coaching like 11 and 12-year-olds. And I was like, okay, so like definitely need to dial back the intensity. Probably need to also like
double down. Let's go.
Well, I mean, if you ask the parents that were there, I maybe didn't dial down the intensity. Yeah. And then you also I need to like over-explain and like simplify how I explain.
Yeah.
And so I was talking to this one goalie one-on-one like a couple weeks later, and I was like, you're doing a really good job, but like you're moving too much. Like you need to do less as a goalie. Like less is more.
It's the worst thing you say to a kid.
As a JV coach,
listen to what he says. Listen to what he says.
Yeah.
He goes, okay, coach, so I need to be a minimalist.
What?
4th grader.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
But like
that's the kid who sounds like a college goalie.
That's the worst thing. It's the best thing to say to kids when they need it. It's the worst thing for them to hear because they take it as I'm not doing the right thing ever.
Yeah.
Right? They go in their brain goes, oh no, do less? What? I thought because everyone their whole life's been telling them to do more.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden a coach comes in and is like, hey man, do less. I actually say it as a joke to my kids sometimes.
Yeah.
Where like they'll do like 4 dodges and then shoot, and I'll be like, hey, do less.
Doing too much.
Yeah.
I say that a lot.
Yeah. Doing too much.
I say
do
doing
less.
too much.
Like,
yeah.
it's true though, because like the game, and I said this I was coaching in Placid this summer, and I said this to the guys. I'm like, this is not hard. Lacrosse is not hard. It becomes hard when you make it hard.
Yeah.
All you have to do is move the ball here, push it through X, and then the other side has a shot. If that's not there, then we go back to the top and we do it again. Like, I'm not teaching you guys crazy stuff here. Like, we do very it was a 4-day tournament. I'm not going to reinvent offense for you. This is our offense. We have 2 guys that love to run and shoot. We have a sick ex-attackman, and we have great wing shooters. Guess what I'm doing? Top, down, dodge, pass, goal. Done. Don't do anything else. What did they do? 27 dodges by the end line. We played a team that played a zone against us, by the way, in Placid. I think that's a hate crime.
I wanted to go zone in PLL juniors.
Dude, I bet you did. Because if you have a good, this leads into my next question. If you have a good goalie, you should run a zone.
We also ran sub games and scored only goals 5v5.
There you go.
I took it a little too seriously.
Like little baby games in the box. Do fakes?
Yeah.
Did you do fake subs?
So this past,
Tell me you did fake subs
yes,
in a
yes. So this past year at
I had a
Wheaton,
coach do that to me when I was like,
so this past year at Wheaton, this past spring,
incredible.
I was the assistant at Wheaton with Kyle Hart, who I'll see later today for the Wheaton preseason meeting because I'm still volunteering. Hey, Kyle. We go up to Bates for a game. We knew it'd be a tough game. Like a lot of coaches, when they're scheduling out of league games, they're like, oh, I want an easy win so like my guys feel good about themselves. Like the parents don't get mad at me. We're like, no, we want to go challenge ourselves. Like we want to get ready for Babson, MIT, Springfield. Like we want to go play a good team early. So we went up to Bates, like took a few licks. I think we lost by like 9 or 10. But something they did really well against us were sub games. Mm-hmm. Both subbing guys off late through the midline or just pulling a guy to the sideline and dodging 5-on-5. Mm-hmm. And so then like over like the course of like the next 2 weeks, we slowly implemented that at Wheaton. And then at PLL juniors, we were down like 2 goals in our second game. And I may have been coaching against another NUMAC coach. And so I put in sub games in the second quarter of that game, and they worked really well. And so I did revenge a NUMAC loss in PLL juniors.
Yeah. I don't know if that equates.
It felt good, though. It felt good, though.
I bet it did. If it feels good, it's good.
yeah. It's always fun to do sub games, especially I put against a lot of teams that do walk-offs, and you can get really creative with if you're getting walked off. You can do some weird chicanery with some guy going over the middle line or not. It's really fun. You talked about a couple when we had Poos on, this different stuff you pulled at Emerson with the just sending a pole over the midline and
Dude,
shoot.
we just send a pole over the midline to shoot every time. Like if you have a pole that can shoot, the greatest weapon in lacrosse against the team that is locking you off is a pole that can shoot.
Trust me, I know. I had one.
I'm telling you, it's like we had this debate in our last podcast when I was on vacation and did the podcast from a hotel room. I have this thing with LSMs where
we did have an argument
where
about
you're
this.
an LSM, because you can't play down there, because you just want to be involved in the play. You're an LSM because you're athletic or because you're not smart enough to play down low. And you were like, no. And I was like, it's not always true. It's more true than you think, okay? That the LSM doesn't know the slide package, never bothered to learn it because they don't have to. All they have to know is me see ball, me get ball. That's all they have to know. Like, being an LSM, I played LSM in college in addition to being an attackman and a faceoff guy and a midfielder. And I loved playing LSM because all I had to do was go get the ball or cover the guy with the ball and hit him until he passed it. That was it. My brain was like smash, smash, smash every time, right? And I teach my LSMs how to play that way, even though I had a finesse LSM for the last 2 years. And I was like, smash. He would come off and I'd be like, hey, why are you dodging 7 guys? Pass the ball so you can go back in and smash. And he was just like, got it. And then like he came off and he just yelled at me, smash. And I was like, yeah, perfect. Now you're an LSM. Now I have you, right? And I think there's a similar mentality, not necessarily with the goalie position, but with other specialty positions where you can be so locked into one role that you make the biggest difference for your team no matter what, right? SSDMs that can lock shot, guys that can crowbar, stuff like that. Like face-off guys that are counter guys, right? Like does that apply to goalies, I guess, is my ultimate question, because is there like a closer goalie? Is there a cooler goalie? Like, is there like a type of goalie that you coach where you're like, okay, you're actually probably better in the second half than the first? Is that a thing that you can see, or is that something that presents itself to you ever when you're coaching?
So that's a great question. First part of that is I do think goalies that are more effective are going to tend to be goalies like Anderson Moore, who we talked about, who aren't just making saves, but they're causing turnovers before there's even a shot.
So
I think you're going to see more and more of that, and you're going to see more and more of those goalies get the high-end D1 offers over a guy like me who just sits in the crease and saves the ball and then throws an outlet and doesn't leave.
Right.
I think that's going to happen. And then, sorry, what was the other part of the question?
Do you think that you can spot whether a goalie's going to be better in the first half or second half if he's like a closer goalie?
So not at one of my clinics, no. I can't like see a kid during a 90-minute training session and be like, oh yeah, you're going to have a horrible first 5 minutes and then figure it out.
But do you agree that type exists?
Yes.
Okay.
100%. And that's why what's fun about the platooning that we were talking about earlier. Yep. Some goalies do really well coming off the bench. Some do really well starting. And for other guys, they do terrible in the opposite situation. And that's something you got to work out as a coach who's platooning goalies. Because you may think, like, if you're a U13 club coach, like, oh, I got to alternate starts to be fair to my goalies. Like, that's what's fair.
Right.
But if one goalie's really bad in the first half and really good in the second half, well, now you're not being fair to the entire team. Because they would still get the same amount of playing time, and they would actually be more successful, have more fun, and the team would go to the championship bracket. And so that's something I don't think club coaches do enough, is like actually look at the data they have from their first tournament. Like, oh, Jimmy had a way better save percentage when he played the second half as opposed to the first half. Maybe we should lean into that in our second tournament.
Right. Have you experienced that?
This is my first time coaching club, and honestly, the biggest confusion was the halves, not quarters. And I think the quarter is a good break for a goalie. I mean, one thing I don't like about the club thing is the half. I think sometimes you need that little 12-minute break in between each quarter to kind of reset. I think when it's just halves, I think it kind of gets a goalie maybe out of the rhythm more because there's just more time to cage. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but that's one thing I kind of.
Are you saying club events should actually have rules that make sense?
I didn't say that, Kyle.
Controversial thought.
I am. Where's my camera? Hey, one set of rules for club. What do you think? Makes everybody's life so much easier. I don't understand why half the events play quarters, halves, and then they're different lengths, and there should be some sort of regulation, because how are you getting the same eval?
Yeah.
How you can't. It's not possible. You're not being put in the same situation. A goalie that's playing this sounds very nitpicky, but a goalie that's playing 2 quarters is different from a goalie that plays a half.
Yeah,
I think
right.
So, personally.
I think every college coach would agree that coaches goalies. I think the college coaches that don't coach goalies are like the college coaches that don't coach faceoff guys, and they're like, yeah, whatever. If he's good,
they're specialists. Yeah.
If he's good, he's good, right? That's why when I do my evals, I do specialists, and I just jam everything in there. I'm like face-off guy, goalie, SSDM, sometimes LSM. Just like you have to do it. Or like utility guys, right? Like that's not to like push away from being a goalie, but I think we're talking about the evolution of the goaltending position. The evolution of the midfield position is way more fascinating to me now.
Oh, two-way middy's coming back.
Dude, it's already back. It's back. It's back. And if it's not back, like, you're not going to be an attackman, and you might play man up instead. Like, that guy that can play defense and kickstart offense is more valuable than ever, not just because of the shot clock. And people think, like, the shot clock killed that guy. No, it didn't. It made him... Early offense is now the biggest part of shot clock, and we can thank the MLL and the PLL for that, right? Early shot clock offense, if you don't have that, your team isn't good in college. And if you do, and it's bad, your team isn't good. Like, that is a key part of your entire offensive package is like, what do we do in the first 20 seconds? You know, you can sub 50% of the time. The other 50% of the time, you have to attack. And if you can't attack with the midi that's on there, you're wasting time. You're wasting another facet that you can throw to get a goal, because the ultimate goal of playing a game is I score more goals than you, I win. So a goal, XG, if you will, bringing it over from another sport, but it applies in soccer and it applies in lacrosse. It's not the same, but like the application of it is the same. Like, how many opportunities did you create? How many goals should you have scored? That's the next thing that's going to come when we start doing more analytics and stuff like that. And I've talked to a couple people that do that, and they're like, oh, yeah, we do that already. And I was like, how do you do that? And they're like, we can't tell you. I'm like, you don't do it yet. Sorry. But that's this is what I do on this podcast. All I do is rant.
That's fine.
And then I just say stuff and ask questions.
Going into, like, talk about the two-way midi and the clearing early offense, one of the biggest trends right now in college you see is the 10-man ride, and that's very dependent on your goalie. What's your opinion on your perspective on the 10-man ride, both from the clearing perspective and the riding perspective, as being the one who starts it and finishes it on either side? You're the guy walking off the last guy, you're the guy starting the clear on the 10-man ride. Kind of what's your opinion on that you see in college now?
So to be successful against a 10-man ride, it's actually less important to have an athletic goalie than it is to have a quick decision-making goalie with a quick release in his pocket.
Yep.
Because I've been on teams that had very athletic goalies who just overthink where they're throwing the ball. They're just a little too intentional with how they take care of the ball. Mm-hmm. And then that ends up actually leading to a turnover because they hesitate on the one look we had, and then they end up getting doubled.
And they get trapped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of colleges that can do 10-mans very successfully. The easiest way to beat it is just hit the first open man. The longer time you give a 10-man, the more successful it's going to be, because your defensemen are going to be more tired than those attackmen, and that LSM coming on. Like, the riding team is going to be the more refreshed team.
Yep.
They're at the advantage.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of the lock off and leave the goalie and not even jump him.
Yeah.
That's at the high school level. We've talked about this. At the high school level, I don't know if there's anything more effective than creating a turnover if you have time. Like, if you have the time to do that and you have the dedication of your midfield to stay locked, it's a turnover so much.
Well, for no offense, but your level, JV high school, like, yeah,
no,
that's going to be very effective.
I coach varsity too. I work at varsity,
yeah.
But low level still in New Hampshire, Division III in New Hampshire, it always works.
Well, I was going to say, like, ISL, those goalies are cranking it from 18 yards and they're scoring.
Oh, sure, and they're scoring. I think that there are still goalies that won't do that, though.
Yes, you're right.
There are still goalies that won't cross the half line.
Because they've been programmed by a youth coach that if you go over the midline, you get benched.
Yeah.
I won't say who, but I had a coach who told me if I went over the midline, he's just calling a timeout.
Yeah.
Because he knew I wanted to score.
Yeah. I've said that multiple times, and I've done it never. Because it puts in their head the wrong thing, obviously. Yeah. But, like, we've talked about this too before. There are rules that you implement, and then there's rules that you can break later, right? Do you do that when you coach? Do you put in, here's my rule for we're stepping on this shot, we're not stepping on that shot, and then when they get older, you're like, okay, you can take a different angle on that? Or do you just encourage the freedom of stopping the ball?
So one thing I really like to do when I'm coaching goalies is not tell them what to do, but give them options and kind of lead them to discovering for themselves, like, what works in general or what works specifically for me. Mm-hmm. So, like, one of my biggest battles now that we're focusing more on youth goalies, because the first 3 years we were mostly just training middle school, high school, and college goalies, but we're doing a lot of youth stuff now, is every youth goalie is being taught by their town coach to step at a 45, They're being screamed at 50 times at practice, attack the ball, attack the ball. And so when I try to explain to them, like, actually, I don't want you to attack the ball. I want you to step laterally towards the pipe. That's a lot of relearning for them to do at once, and like that takes time. And so they need a very visual demonstration of, if I step at a 45 and I'm my size, I'm not even getting to the pipe. There's all this goal I'm not covering. So if I can't get there and I'm 6 feet and you're 4'10", how are you going to get there?
Right.
And then also look at my chest. I'm leaning forward. I'm off balance. If you push my shoulder, I fall. And the third thing that's bad, I just shorten my reaction time. But if I take a lateral step towards the pipe, oh, look, I actually get all the way to the other side of the cage. I didn't even leave my trail leg. My chest is upright. I'm balanced. I'm taking up more net. And now I have an extra like 0.3 of a second to react. And with a youth goalie, they need to visually see all those three differences. With a high school or college goalie, you can just say to them, like, how many D1 or pro goalies do you see stepping at a 45? And they're like, oh, none. Right. And then they start stepping laterally, and that's kind of, it's a 30-second conversation with a 17-year-old, whereas with an 11-year-old, it's like a 5 to 10-minute demo.
Yeah. I think one of the things that I hammer with goalies and again, I'm coaching JV and varsity goalies and Division III in New Hampshire. Strong side stops are all I want. It's literally all I say to my goalies. I'm like, you cannot let anything in stick side on the strong side of the shot. If you let it in weak side, fine. If you let it in because you're
making
not
them think
across,
too much. You're making them think too much.
I know, but like that's all I want. It's true. I'm not saying it to make them better. I'm saying it because it's literally, it's not a dating app, dude. Like I'm telling you what I want. I'm telling you what I want. Yeah. This is what I want. Stop everything strong side. That's it. And in my brain, I go, that's a great direction. Good job, coach. Because now I've given them one thing to do. But what you just reacted to was, why are you saying that to them? Which is interesting.
Because it takes a very high-level goalie to do that successfully. Okay. If you're taking Timmy, who's a JV goalie, who's been playing for 2 weeks, and saying, I only need you to save stick side, that's going to throw off all his angles. It's going to throw off his stance. He's going to overthink his detriment.
Not necessarily stick side. Strong side of the ball. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah, seriously.
Okay, so strong side of the ball, not stick side necessarily. Yeah. Just it happens to be stick side because most of the goalies are righties.
Yeah, so just take away the side of the cage that you should. Don't get beaten near your side.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that makes way more sense.
Okay, that's what I'm
glad we talked that out.
Yeah, good. Do you have the same reaction?
Yes. No, not the same reaction. No, that makes sense.
Okay.
But there are some high-level goalies that I work with who actively, instead of like taking up 50% of the cage each way, they'll give up 40% off stick and 60% stick side. And they think just that little 10% difference might help.
That's the bait.
That's the bait. And that's about as much baiting as I like.
Okay.
Like there are other goalie training businesses who, if you watch their highlights, it's like all baiting saves.
Yes.
And like that's my biggest like fight with my upcoming freshman college goalies right now is you're about to see a high level of lacrosse that you have never seen before. Like I don't care how good the ISL or Founders was, like the Ivy League, the ACC, it's better. The stuff you got away with, you can't do now.
Yeah.
So like dropping your hands between your legs when a guy comes around X and goes to shoot, he's going to tuck that over your head every time.
That brings me back to, we briefly touched on this, the over the top moving across instead of coming underneath.
Yes.
What changed that for you? Or have you always been that way?
So no, I've not always been that way. So to shout out Goalie Smith, they completely changed the position 10 years ago. And so before I started the business, I saw them like just exploding in Baltimore. And then I looked at New England, and there's been a long-standing goalie training business that hasn't changed the way they coach the position 30 years. The way they taught me to play 21 years ago is how they would teach an 11-year-old today.
Right.
And so I was like, there's a huge vacuum of teaching this way in New England, and that's kind of the idea behind Goalie Gurus, was to teach the position the way it's being taught in other hotbeds. But 3 years ago, or 3.5 years ago when I started, I wasn't fully sold on everything that they were doing just because it was so radical. But then, thankfully, myself and my assistant director, Coach Matty Drewers from Emmanuel College, we were able to be guest coaches at one of their like October 5-2 camps in Norfolk, I think. And they got to really explain to me like the why behind why they like think this works as opposed to the old way of doing things. And everything just instantly made sense to me. The one thing I still struggle with is baiting. I just don't understand logically why, if you practice making saves thousands of times from a very specific set position, how is it to your benefit to then in a game when it matters most, take yourself out of that to a position you've never practiced saving from and give up more goal?
Right.
Like, won't you make more saves if you're just more ready, more still? Like, you may not end up on ESPN, but you might win more games. And isn't that what matters?
I think the argument against that is that if I'm a shooter and you've been standing this way the whole time, and I get the ball at the end of the game, and you change where you're standing, I go, what? That's the first thing that...
But once in a game.
Once.
Yeah, once in a game versus doing it every time someone's in close, I'm going to jump or I'm going to throw my stick between my legs.
Yeah.
Like, some kids do it, like, anytime someone's within 5 yards. Like, oh, I'm going to bait now.
What, dropper or jumper?
In what context?
Making more saves.
Dropping will make you a ton of saves. Jumping, unless you need to jump to touch the top of the crossbar, will generally lead to getting scored on more than making saves.
Right. Why do kids still jump then?
Because they had to when they first learned to play.
Because they were small.
And that's the most fun part about being a goalie coach with private lessons, is that aha moment with like a 14 or 12 to 14-year-old goalie when they realize I don't have to jump. And the way I show that to them is I'll just turn them around and have them face the goal. I'll say, get in your stance. I'll be like, okay, tap the crossbar with the head of your stick. And they just go, oh.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, you don't need to jump anymore. You're not 4 feet tall anymore. Like, you're like 5'10". Like, you don't need to jump.
Yeah. Yeah. My college goalie was 5'5". He's from Norfolk, not Norfolk, Virginia. Weston. So, some fairly famous school in Virginia, right? And he hated me because I didn't think about where I shot.
Yeah.
I just shot as hard as I could every time. And he's like, I hate you so much. Like, we finished the season, and he's like, I just want to let you know I hate you so much. And I'm like, why? Because I hit you a couple times? He's like, no, I always think you're shooting high on me, and you just, like, you don't. And I was like, yeah, because you jump. Like, what are you talking about? He's like, what? And I was like, yeah, I just put it, like, I shoot it hard away from you. That's all I do. And he's like, what? Like, the look on it of, like,
it can't be that simple.
Just straight terror on his face of, like, I thought you were messing with me the whole time. I was like, no. I mean, I'll shoot it hard, but, like, I'm shooting it away from you. Because all you're going to do is this. And then all I have to do is put it away from you. And he's like, the look of, like, you watch, like, defeat wash over a person. And I'm like, oh, man, just kind of ruined that for you, huh? He's like, yeah. It's a great kid, like, funny kid. He was a freshman. He didn't go back to school. He left. But, like, Oakton, that's where he's from. Oakton, Virginia.
You get it.
Yeah, it's my ADD. The goalies that are his size, that the difference between that was like 20-something years ago. Now, you don't see as many kids jump, but you see everyone drop.
Yes.
And when I'm doing evals, like, all summer, this summer was actually, in my opinion, a difference from last summer in that less kids dropped in a heap. Do you know what I mean? Mm. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just
like kids just, like,
I've seen it
flop.
Yeah, I see it all the time. I'm not going to name somebody.
That happened less.
Really did it.
That happened less this year. Even and listen, I went to some B-level tournaments because New England has B-level tournaments. No offense, guys.
I coached them.
Yeah, you know. And even those goalies, when they dropped, they stayed feet down, right? Like, feet flat.
Yep.
Like, they still dropped their whole body somehow, which, like, looks weird when you think about it. It's like one of those things you could press the bottom of and it collapses. But goalies last year, I saw like 5-6 goalies last year that just, like, threw themselves at the ball and then were, like, in the dirt with the ball. And I'm like, that's interesting. Why are we doing that? Is that, like, a thing that you see, or is that just a kid who's, like, kind of, I'm going to do anything I can to stop the ball, and here's how I stop a ball that I can't read?
So I think it's a mix of I'm going to do anything I can see to stop the ball, and also I saw something cool on Instagram. I'm going to try it without really thinking about it.
I hate that answer, but you're probably right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He is right.
Yeah.
He is right.
And so I'll get a lot of goalies who are just, like, falling on their butts constantly at my clinics, and I'm just like, can you save a rebound if it happens and you're there? And they're like, no. I'm like, okay, so let's get you a little more forward.
Yeah.
If you're going to drop, let's take that big lateral step towards the pipe.
Right.
And let's land hard on that trail knee.
Yeah.
And let's be balanced on that
keep
trail
our balance.
knee.
Yeah.
So, like, if there is a rebound, you push off that trail knee, and now you're standing and you're ready.
Yeah. 100% true.
Forgive me, this might be an impossible question, but I'd be remiss if I didn't ask it. Do you remember the single greatest save you've ever seen?
Seen or made? Myself.
Give me both. Seen one and then made yourself.
I do.
Single greatest save I ever made. Freshman year at Seb's, I was on varsity, but would play both practices and like bounce between games.
Yeah.
JV practice, we're doing riding and clearing. I throw a turnover, and then the kid throws the ball towards the goal. And like the most athletic thing I've done in my entire life. I like dove and like just reached it with my stick. That was the best save I've ever seen through like that lens. The best save I've ever seen was probably that sophomore goalie at Avon, Nolan Callahan. Probably one of those saves he had in overtime against Tabor was just ridiculous. Just kid right on the doorstep, just come over the top, was going right in the corner, and he just put his top hand across so fast. Clean save, no rebound. I think we might have scored on this play actually, and then the ball went up. I still have the game film. I'll check it later and email you.
Do you remember the best save you ever seen? I bet we have the same answer.
Are you thinking from this past spring?
No.
Oh no. But best save I've ever seen. Honestly, the one that oh my God, who was it? It was this past at the Boston High All American game. The goalie made the save on the doorstep because the kid faked high, faked low, and the kid dropped. And then when he was all the way on the ground, threw his stick back up to reach the top of the crossbar and got it. I forget who it was.
That's the Instagram save, dude. We were just talking about that.
Okay, we were?
Yeah. Yeah. You're like, yes. Yes.
I don't remember who it was, though. I feel bad.
Was it the BC High goalie or was it Clements?
Yes. No, it was the BC High goalie.
Okay, so I'm saying.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
That was, I don't want to say surprised, but just that and any chicken wing or foot save, I just am really like, I have a really special place in my heart for anybody because they can save it with like their elbow or their foot. I'm like, I just really love it.
The greatest save I've ever seen is Kyle Bernlohr in the first overtime against North Carolina in 2016. Stick save, shaft save, throws it up.
I know what you're talking about.
You know, yeah. I thought you were going to say that because every time I ask someone that's the save that they goalies especially him, Bernlohr and Tillman Johnson are like deities to like tons of goalie guys that I know. Yeah. They're just like, yes, I worship at the altar of you. And now it's Entenmann. Everyone loves Entenmann because, but what they don't realize is that Entenmann's a freak.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy though too. Also,
sure, but watching him play the goalie position is scary.
Yeah,
as like someone like I always say to kids like, I should score on you because I'm an adult and I've been shooting for 40 years. Like I should score on you, right? And they're like, yeah, but then like we put it in practice and like I'll be like, I don't know if you do this. If you save this ball, you don't have to run.
Don't do that.
I do it. Try it. It's fun. The kids, because sometimes you can give it to them, but I generally try to score every time. And I remember doing that to one of my first goalies. And the first time he saved that ball, he jumped so high in the air. I've never seen a kid happier in my life. It was just like one of the best, and the team lost it and they mobbed him. All they had to do was one sprint. I'm like, you are celebrating not doing one sprint? Like, okay, but it's not about that.
Yep.
Right? It's about, for goalies, I think it's always like, the pressure is on you all the time. And when you can make it work for you, that's great. You can win your team a game like the Canada kid did in the U20 championships that just happened. Won his team the game with a last-minute save on a bouncer. That's legit against the best-ranked guys in all of the United States. And Canada wins because the goalie makes that save, right? So, you know, goalies are important, guys.
Most important position in the sport.
Yeah, they're weird, but they're fun. You know, you have not broken eye contact with me the entire podcast. I am super put off by it, but I'm into it. It's fine. I want to put it in. I want to put that in the podcast.
Well, you're talking the whole time. I'd do it to Owen too, but you're not giving him any mic time.
No. Well, that is also a complaint we get from our listeners. Yeah, clip that. Yes. Where can people check out Goalie Gurus online and social media?
So goaliegurus.com, you can book lessons directly through the website using Sports Engine. We have training running in Dedham, Norwood, Rockland, Danvers, and Wilmington. And then we'll actually be all the way up in Arundel, Maine in a couple weeks on Monday nights this fall at the Maine Muscles new facility. And then at Goalie Gurus on Instagram.
Will you come to New Hampshire and coach my goalie?
We actually are going to New Hampshire, so we're also on Fridays. Still got to lock in this schedule, but we're in preliminary talks to do clinics at New Hampton and then Cushing Academy we'll just alternate each week. I'll go out to each prep school, and we'll do clinics there for those goalies, the boys and girls teams there, and then any other prep schools or just any other local kids nearby that want to come.
Awesome, man.
Awesome. Yeah.
Appreciate having you on.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in. And we want to thank you again for listening to New England Lacrosse Journal's Chasing the Goal podcast. I'm Kyle Devitt. We'll see you next time.